In the year 2439, the city of Eclipsora hung suspended above the turquoise clouds of Jupiter's upper atmosphere like a floating cathedral of steel and glass. From below, it shimmered like a jewel. From within, it was a labyrinth of perfect symmetry, a society ruled by aesthetic harmony, precision, and the cold mathematics of genetic design. No one in Eclipsora was born naturally anymore. The citizens were assembled, sculpted in the embryonic phase by genetic architects, perfected before they took their first breath. Flaws were considered inefficiencies. Scars were unacceptable deviations. That was why Lyra Thane lived on the lowest level of the city, beneath the silver plazas and crystalline gardens, in the dim blue corridors that pulsed faintly with the hum of the reactors keeping Eclipsora afloat. Lyra was born the old way. Naturally. Her mother had fled the genetic purity program decades earlier, hiding in the lower decks. Lyra came into the world during a storm cycle, when Jupiter's radiation disrupted the city's systems. She was alive, but her left cheek bore a deep, jagged scar from the emergency extraction. The wound healed, but the tissue never regenerated properly. It formed a pattern, a silvery streak that shimmered faintly under artificial light, like cracked glass. To the upper citizens, it was more than a flaw. It was a reminder of chaos, of the unpredictable past they believed they had erased. For most of her life, people turned away from her. Not with cruelty exactly, but with a polite avoidance that hurts more than open scorn. Their eyes would flinch from her face. Their voices would lower when she passed. The young ones whispered that her scar was infectious, a data corruption, something that could spread into their perfect genomes. Lyra learned to keep her head down. She worked as a reactor technician, spending her days deep within the maintenance levels, among pipes, plasma conduits, and the soft thunder of turbines. Machines didn't care how she looked. They only cared that she kept them alive. But even among the engineers, she was an outlier. Most had perfect, symmetrical features and calm, measured tones. Lyra was the only one who smiled without restraint, who laughed too loudly when a pressure valve popped unexpectedly. Her laughter echoed through the lower decks, a strange human sound that didn't quite fit in Eclipsora's precision. One day, while calibrating the oxygen filters near the reactor core, she found something strange. A transmission, faint, old, and human. It wasn't from Eclipsora's network. It came from the surface of Jupiter itself, a place no one had touched for centuries. "If anyone can hear this," the voice crackled through the static. "This is Elias Vance, research captain of the Pioneer Arkansas. We've discovered something alive beneath the ammonia clouds." Lyra froze. Humans hadn't sent missions into Jupiter's depths for 300 years. The Pioneer Ark was a ghost ship, one of the early expeditions lost when humanity still dreamed of the stars instead of perfecting themselves. She played the recording again and again. Every time, the voice grew clearer, stronger, as if reaching out from history itself. Something alive beneath the clouds. She couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, she went to the observation decks, the forbidden ones that overlooked Jupiter's roiling storms. The gas giant stretched endlessly below, vast bands of gold and crimson swirling like a living ocean. Lightning flickered through the clouds, silent and distant. No one else was there. No one ever came this far down. She whispered to herself, "Something alive down there." The idea thrilled her. Something imperfect, chaotic, and yet alive. A week later, the council summoned her. "Technician Lyra Thane," said the High Curator, a tall, luminous woman whose face was perfectly symmetrical, her skin a flawless porcelain hue. "We've detected an unauthorized frequency trace originating from your workstation." Lyra hesitated. "A transmission, yes. From the Pioneer Arkansas." The curator frowned, as if tasting something unpleasant. That vessel and its data were lost. You are not authorized to handle or interpret historical anomalies. But it wasn't just static, Lyra insisted. There's a signal repeating. Something beneath the cloud layer. That's impossible, the curator said, her voice flat. The Jovian depths are uninhabitable. Continue your assigned duties and erase the file. Eclipsera cannot risk contamination from corrupted data. Lyra left the chamber in silence. But she didn't erase it. Instead, she downloaded the transmission into an old mechanical datasphere, one of the ancient storage devices humans once used. She hid it in her maintenance satchel, knowing if she were caught, she'd be expelled to the surface. Or worse, unmade. 2 nights later, someone found her. He was a stranger in the lower decks, tall, in a pressure suit patched with archaic insignia. His eyes weren't the serene silver of the Eclipserans. They were a deep, organic brown. "You're Lyra Thane?" he asked. His voice was low, human, real. She took a step back, hand hovering near the alarm panel. "Who are you?" "Elias Vance," he said simply. "Captain of the Pioneer Arkansas." Her breath caught. "That's not possible. You vanished centuries ago." He smiled faintly. "Time works differently below the clouds. We found something that changed us." Lyra's pulse raced. The man's face was weathered, his skin uneven, marked by time, but his eyes held warmth. Imperfection. Humanity. "You sent the transmission," she whispered. He nodded. "We've been trying to reach Eclipsera for generations. The storm interferes with all signals. You're the first to answer." "What did you find down there?" she asked. He looked past her toward the glowing conduits. Life. Not carbon-based, something fluid, adaptive. It reshaped us, helped us survive. We've become hybrids of flesh and atmosphere. We want to return. To share what we've learned. Lyra understood the horror that the council would feel. They would see corruption, impurity, not life contamination. "They'll never let you in," she said. "I know," he replied quietly. "That's why I came to you." Her scar glowed faintly under the reactor's light, as if responding to his words. She realized he wasn't repulsed by it. He hadn't even looked away. For the first time in her life, someone's gaze lingered on her face, not with pity, but recognition. "You're like us," Elias said softly. "Marked. Changed. Proof that perfection isn't the same as life." Together they planned. Lyra rerouted the city's lower communication relays, disguising them as maintenance signals. The Pioneer Ark's transmissions began to filter through, not to the council, but to the neglected systems beneath the city where forgotten drones and worker AIs still listened. The AIs didn't care about perfection either. They responded. Slowly, a network formed, a quiet rebellion pulsing beneath Eclipsera's immaculate surface. Lyra and Elias coordinated a passage for the Ark's survivors, hidden among the city's storm collectors. But the council noticed the energy fluctuations. When they confronted her again, they demanded to see her face. Lyra stood before them, no longer hiding her scar, no longer bowing her head. "This mark," she said, touching her cheek, "is what makes me real. You've erased everything unpredictable from yourselves, and with it, you've erased the essence of what it means to be." They ordered her detained. But by then it was too late. The storm collectors had opened. The atmosphere roared, lightning igniting the sky as the Pioneer Ark ascended in a blaze of gold and fire. The city trembled. Alarms blared. The AIs redirected power from the upper decks to shield the Ark's arrival. Through the chaos, Lyra and Elias stood at the observation deck. Below them, vast luminous shapes rose through the clouds, beings of vapor and light, born from Jupiter's depths. They danced around the ark, guiding it upward like guardians of a forgotten truth. Eclipsera's perfect citizens screamed as the sky tore open, and for the first time they looked upon something flawed and saw beauty. When the storm finally settled, the city floated lower, tethered now by the ark's energy. The council's reign was broken. The hybrids from Jupiter lived among them, not perfect, not symmetrical, but alive. Lyra walked through the streets, no longer avoided, her scar shining like a star beneath the twin suns that rose over the horizon of swirling clouds. Beside her walked Elias, the human who had reached out his hand when everyone else turned away. Together they watched the new dawn. And in that fragile light, Eclipsera began to remember what it meant to be human.